Nighthawk Gold in the news today. Nighthawk trades as NHK on the TSX. More drilling at Colomac confirms a widening of its two best mineral zones to depth. With me now, the CEO, Dr. Michael Byron. Hey, Doc, appreciate the time as always here. Well, let's run through it here. 7 holes once you add a little color and some highlights to it.
Certainly. Well, today's release, it was just 7 holes, so it was a small release, but I think impactful for as far as our main, say, core of the deposit, which is that area of 1.5 in Zone 2. So to put it into perspective, in 2017, we drilled a hole at Zone 1.5, and it was the deepest hole we've ever drilled, down to almost 900 vertical meters. And the idea was to test what appeared to look like a widening of the sill, and we weren't sure if it was real, so we thought, well, we'll just rip the hole down deep into the guts of this thing and see if it's widening. And on that drill section, it went from, say, 40 to 50 meter true width in the shallow part of the sill down to 155 meters at depth. So then you're left with the question: is that just a localized anomaly, or is the sill widening at depth? So this release, we put out a hole, that C1939B, that was 270 meters to the south of that 1917 hole. And we wanted, obviously, we're tracking mineralization down, higher grade mineralization down to depth, and we're noticing an increase as well. So this hole delivered a true width of almost 110 meters at not quite the same depth as the other one, but what it certainly confirmed is that the sill in that area is in fact widening to depth, and that's impactful because we're looking at something that is over 100 meters wide, 155 meters wide. So for our American colleagues, that's 300 plus feet true width. So it's a sizable volume of rock. It's wedge shaped, so it's like a pie where the thickest part appears to be at the bottom. But in that deposit that we're seeing there at Zone 1.5 and 2, we've now defined it at over 500 meters in strike length and open, so it could be longer, especially to the south, from surface down to 700 plus meters, maybe 800 meters and open, and shallower, portions, about 30 meter true width down to, as we said, 150 plus meters of depth. So that's a big volume of rock, and that's what we're looking for as impacts like this that can really change the nature of the Colomac deposit. And the beauty of this is that obviously it's open at depth, and it's more importantly, it's open along strike to the south. So we'll continue probing it and seeing if we can continue to grow that. So that's really what today's highlight was. Is hey, we've answered that nagging question of what's happening to depth. Now we're pretty confident we know. The other takeaway was we drilled a couple of holes at this very far south end of the sill, of like 4 kilometers south of where this hole that I just was talking about was drilled. And we were, and this is in Zone 3.5, which is another high grade zone. And we were just testing the up plunge portion of that had never been drilled before to the south. So we had never drilled in there. No one had ever drilled in there before. And so they were shallow holes because you're tracking it closer to surface. And what we hit was some mineralization, higher grade mineralization that set just below the quartz diorite top of the sill, which is traditionally where all the gold is. And these are now a new style of mineralization that we haven't seen before, outside sort of the confines of the jewelry box of the sill, but they're hosted in quartz veins, and so we know nothing about the opportunity here. So we're kind of excited to go back and look at that in 2020, because they're really shallow. Like I think the first cut was 34 meters depth. So those are two takeaways from this morning's release, both positive, and we're quite enthused that we've got some really, really good targets to work on in 2020.
And again, only 7 holes released, so start sprinkling these things out here.
Yeah, we put a quick sort of a paragraph of how many holes are remaining at Colomac and at Treasure Island and so on and so forth. So it's a sizable. We've now reported a little bit over half of our drilling to date. So there's probably another 3 or 4 news releases on drill results, and then we get into the news release on our heap leach testing. So our bottle roll and column tests, those will be coming out shortly as well, and then followed up with our regional prospecting and mapping exploration results, and that'll segue nicely into the start of 2020. So there'll be no gaps.
Okay, that's Dr. Michael Byron, CEO, Nighthawk Gold. Nighthawk trades as NHK on the TSX. Hey, Doc, appreciate that update. Look forward to checking back in when you have some more holes to report.
Hey, well, thanks, Rob. Thanks for getting up this morning.